All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a problem that, let's be honest, pretty much every Flutter developer runs into. Why do our awesome, fast, beautiful apps eventually turn into this total nightmare to maintain? And, more importantly, how do we actually fix it?
You know that feeling, right? It's so frustrating. You start a project, it's a clean slate, everything is moving fast, it's exciting. But then a few months down the line, adding one simple feature feels like trying to navigate a minefield. So, what's really going on? Why does this keep happening to us?
And here it is, the big reveal, right at the start. The problem isn't some flaw in Flutter itself. It's not about the framework's performance or what it can do. The real culprit, the thing that's silently killing our projects, is a lack of solid architecture. So, here's the game plan for this explainer. We'll start with why we fell in love with Flutter in the first place. Then, we'll look at that exact moment where things start to go wrong. We'll diagnose the real root cause, check out some tools to fix it, see a real-world before and after, and finally, talk about how to build apps that are actually built to last. Let's rewind to the beginning. We all picked Flutter for a reason, didn't we? It promises crazy fast development, UIs that are just gorgeous right out of the box, and a learning curve that feels, well, really welcoming. And honestly, for the most part, it totally delivers on that. But then, the turning point arrives. Your app starts to grow up. It goes from a little prototype to a full-featured application, and that initial simplicity starts to feel, well, really complicated. This is where the headaches begin, and you start to feel like you're fighting against the very framework you chose. And what's the first tool we all grab? It's setState, of course. It's built right in, it's easy to use, and honestly, it's fantastic for managing the state of one small widget or for just hacking a prototype together really fast. In that context, it does its job perfectly. But this is exactly where that simple tool starts to work against you. The moment you start using setState for everything, your app state gets scattered all over the place. It's tangled across your entire widget tree. Widgets start rebuilding when they don't need to, performance takes a hit, and debugging becomes an absolute nightmare of trying to trace where a single change even came from. So this brings us to the real diagnosis. All those problems with setState, they're just symptoms. The actual disease, the real root cause of the chaos, is mixing your UI code with your business logic. When those two are all tangled up, your app has no structure. It's just a recipe for disaster. And this is the golden rule, the one thing you need to remember. Your UI should only be responsible for one thing: displaying data. That's it. It shouldn't be making network calls. It shouldn't be doing complex math. Its job isn't to manage the core logic of your app. This whole idea is called separation of concern. And this is what that separation looks like in practice. You create these distinct, independent layers. You've got your UI layer, that's all your widgets, then a state layer, which holds and serves up the data your UI needs, and finally, the business logic layer, which does all the heavy lifting. The beauty is, when they're separate, you can change one without breaking the others. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? Well, lucky for us, the Flutter community has built an incredible toolkit of solutions to help us bring this kind of structure to our apps. For a lot of apps, tools like Provider and its newer, shinier cousin Riverpod are total game changers. Think of them as a central hub for your app's data. This means your widgets can listen only to the specific piece of data they care about, which puts a stop to all those pointless rebuilds. And Riverpod adds this amazing superpower: compile time safety. That means your editor can spot potential errors before you even run the app. It's awesome. Now, what if you're building something huge, a really big app, maybe with a whole team of developers? That's when you bring out the heavy hitters, Bloc, and its simpler counterpart, Qubit. These are more than just state management tools. They're full-on architectural patterns. They force this really strict, predictable flow of data. Your UI sends an event, the Bloc processes it, and it spits out a new state. That's it. This predictability is golden. It makes debugging a breeze. And for teams, it's a lifesaver, creating a shared language so everyone stays on the same page. So, which one do you pick? Well, this little table is a fantastic guide. If you're building a small app or just a quick prototype, StateSet is totally fine. As your app gets into that medium size range, you'll want to reach for Provider or Riverpod. And for the big, complex projects, Bloc or Qubit will give you the structure you need to keep things from getting out of hand. Let's make this real, though. What does this difference actually feel like when you're coding? Let's imagine we're adding a new feature to two different apps, one that's a tangled mess and one with a clean, separated architecture. In the messy app, adding one small feature means you're hunting through a dozen different files. Every little change you make feels like it could break something totally unrelated. It's slow, it's frustrating, it's just no fun. But in the well-architected app, the change is simple and isolated. It's safe, it's easy to test, and you can build things fast with confidence. That is the payoff right there. So let's wrap this all up. Getting this stuff right isn't just about writing tidier code. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset, from just building apps that work today to engineering professional applications that can grow and evolve for years to come. I want you to really let this sink in because it's the most important takeaway. It's almost never raw performance that kills a Flutter project. It's the slow, creeping death by 1,000 cuts from a codebase that has just become impossible to manage. But here's the magic. When you get this right, when you embrace good architecture from the very beginning, something amazing happens. Flutter transforms. It stops being just a UI framework and becomes one of the most powerful, efficient, and genuinely enjoyable tools you could ever use to build world-class applications. So I'll just leave you with this question. Now that you have the knowledge to build applications that don't just launch but actually last, what incredible things are you going to go out and build next?